Nothing is real but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Jai Baba to all of you. Thanks to beloved Baba. My phone was a little playful today. It kept on showing 5:29 even though it was past 5:30. Maybe one of Baba's tricks, you know. Anyway, we are reading Meher Baba Calling, and the chapter number is 46. But before that, I think somebody had a question. Delna, you had a question. Please ask. You're mute. You are mute. Please unmute yourself.
We'll finish this and then at the end I'll ask you the question.
If there is an end, I don't know.
So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, we'll finish then. You start reading.
Okay, fine.
Seek not the kingdom of earth. Do not seek material pleasure, and you will find the spiritual treasure. This means seek only God by not seeking material pleasures, and you will find God. You can only seek God through self denial. The spiritual treasure cannot be obtained by merely stretching out your hand for it. Only in the completeness of self denial can the spiritual treasure become self evident. Seek the kingdom of heaven by not seeking the kingdom of earth, and you will find it. When God is found, you can have no idea what infinite bliss and peace is gained. I give you all my love so that someday you can love God as He ought to be loved.
All right, this is chapter number 46. Baba says, seek not the kingdom of earth. There is something called the reality or the truth or the substance. And there is something called the shadow or a reflection or an image or nothingness. Baba says that God is the only reality and all else is nothing but a shadow, nothing but a bhram and illusion. It is now resting upon us whether we want to chase the truth or you want to chase, and by you I mean we want to chase the shadow. We all know that shadow has no substance, howsoever enticing, howsoever intriguing, howsoever beautiful it may be. At the end of the day, it is just a shadow. It is just a nothingness. And so here Baba says, do not seek material pleasure and you will find spiritual treasure. My understanding of this is not that you should not enjoy material pleasure, but Baba says, do not seek. In other words, do not run after it. Do not sacrifice the truth for the sake of the material pleasure. So here the word used is do not seek material pleasure and you will find the spiritual treasure. I remember having shared it here itself in this forum. There was once a very saintly person, we call it a sage, advanced spiritually, and people had gathered there and they told him that you are such a great man that you have sacrificed everything for the sake of God. How fortunate you are, how great you are. You have renounced everything for the sake of God. And the man smiles and says that you are greater renunciator than what I am because you have renounced a greater thing than what I have renounced. And you have renounced God and you are running after materialistic thing. So actually you are a greater renouncer because you have renounced a greater thing. So maybe we all come in that category, or majority of us, where we are not really taking God seriously, but we are taking life seriously and God lightly. This means, Baba says, seek only God by not seeking material pleasures, and you will find God. In other words, what Baba is trying to stress here is that in life, nothing is impossible, everything is possible. When one sets one's heart in seeking God, after God, and if he achieves God, which is supposed to be, in a sense, the most difficult thing to achieve, then one can achieve anything in life because one can achieve God. Here, Baba says, in order to achieve God, you must be so focused on God and God and God alone. Does it mean that we do not take care of our parents, of our family, we do not do work, we do not do business, we do not enjoy life? No, it does not mean any of these things. Baba has been a very practical master. He always insists on discharging our responsibilities, looking after our duties, but at the same time, at the back of the mind, one must understand that all this is ephemeral, all this is transient, all this is impermanent, all this is just a bhas. That means it is just an illusion, it is just a dikhawa, it is just a show thing. It has no dam, no astitva, no existence, no reality in it. But because we have taken a human form and because we are in a certain set of situation and circumstances, we are expected to look at that also. So if we look at that with this bent of mind, that this is all an illusion, it is not a reality. The reality behind all this is nothing but, you call it God, you call it Baba, you call it the real I, you call it self. These are all names. That is the reality. So when one discharges all its functions which he is expected to do in the world with this bent of mind, that means he's focused on God, then in my understanding, we are really seeking God. Although apparently, overtly, we are involved in so many activities. Soumya, tell that story just to save my breath about that master, uh, Alauddin, is it? Anyway, not Mohyuddin. There was one, anyway, there was a master and he was sitting with his disciples. Now Soumya will continue.
It
And
is
this
there in the
disciple, yeah,
it's there in the discourses the Baba has given.
Aulia, some
Nizamuddin Aulia.
Nizamuddin Aulia. Yes. Nizamuddin Aulia was a perfect master. He had disciples, and one fine day, the disciples asked him a very, very pertinent question. How do we live in the world? And how can we find God?
So Baba is narrating this anecdote. Baba says that Nizamuddin Aulia points out to some women who are walking with the pitchers and with full of water, and they're poking fun and they were having a gay time. And the master said, like them. So the disciples could not understand like them means what. And then Baba explains that it meant like they had walked such long distance to fill their pitchers with water, and they had it all balanced on their head. They were making fun, but all the time their attention was on the pitchers, that it did not fall and they did not drop, they did not drop the water. So we have to live in this world all the time with our mind in attached to Baba, in companionship with Baba, but enjoy life and go through whatever life has in store for us.
So it's a very practical example where Nizamuddin Aulia says that this is how you should live in the world. That means their mind and the heart is on the water and the pitcher. so that it doesn't fall. But superfluously, they were poking fun, they were giggling, they were talking, they were, like dancing and going around. But all the time, their focus was on that pitcher and the water in the pitcher over their head. In that way, one should conduct oneself in life. You can only seek God through self denial. Self denial, we've been doing that neti. I am not this, I am not that. Again, I remember Era Jasawala beautifully narrating this, that Baba kept on emphasizing this one fact, that there are people and people and people who are in search of God, and their search is futile. They are not able to search God. Why? And Baba himself answers why. Because you are searching for something you have never lost. So when you are searching for something you have never lost, how can you search him? And then Baba goes on to give the so-called solution, that instead of going in search of God, you know, that means Erat says books and books have been written on how to find God. But the important thing is how to lose yourself. Lose yourself in the sense not LOOSE, LOSE. Lose yourself would mean that you have an attitude of self-denial. That means you do not consider yourself as the body. You do not consider yourself as the mind. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. The thoughts are from you. You do have a body, but you are not the body. So when we have this particular construct in our mind, that I am not the body, I am not the mind, we know the whole entire prayer which Baba had given, then that could, in my understanding, then that could mean that there is a self-denial, that you are doing everything, but you are not attached to anything that is not the truth. The spiritual treasure cannot be obtained by merely stretching out your hand for it. What it means is, many of us, somebody had asked something about thinking like this, or thinking that it is Baba doing, or feeling that there is always a thought behind the thought, the feeling behind the feeling, the emotion behind the emotion. In other words, there is a very solid platform of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. In other words, what Baba says is, just by saying that I am a Baba lover, or just by saying I am on the spiritual path, or I am advanced spiritually, or I am a seeker after truth, just by saying that, you are not going to get it. In other words, you are supposed to be deep down anchored in that thought that Baba alone is real, that all that I am going through, all that I am experiencing is just very periphery level, is very superfluous level, upar se, as we say. It doesn't have any astitva, any dam, any truth, any reality in it. And when we are continuously, constantly, perennially focused on Baba, then perhaps one may say that yes, we are on the right track. The spiritual treasure cannot be obtained by merely stretching out your hand for it. Only in the completeness of self-denial can the spiritual treasure becomes self-evident. Only when you deny your false self, the real self asserts itself. The reality, or God, or truth, or the real self is not to be brought from somewhere outside. It is already built within us. What it requires is its manifestation, its blossoming, its blooming. And why
Unfoldment.
it, sorry?
Unfoldment.
Its unfoldment. Why it is not unfolding is, there is a bud of rose, and there is a string tied to it. Strings and strings and strings. How can it open up? How can it, what should I say,
Blossom.
unfold? Yeah, it cannot blossom. Why? Because there are strings. And what are these strings for us? They are our samskaras. They are our impressions, our past karmas, result of our past karmas. So only when the string becomes loosened through self-denial can there be little scope for the truth or the reality or the blossoming of the real I from within. And that is why Baba says that spirituality is not an amassing or a gathering or an accumulation from without. Without means from outside. It is an unfoldment from within. And the unfoldment, petal by petal, it will open up when gradually we will deny all that is false, all that has no astitva, we deny it. Then gradually it gets the impetus, it gets the encouragement of unfolding. And that is the meaning of when Baba says, I have come not to teach but to awaken. Awaken what? Awaken the reality, the truth within us. Awaken himself within us. And to help him to awaken us, we have to stop, in a sense, stop sleeping in the sense, stop considering worldly things as the reality or as the truth. Seek the kingdom of heaven by not seeking the kingdom of earth, and you will find it. Here, the kingdom of heaven, we may say it is not the heaven or hell that we are talking about. I personally feel that when Baba says seek the kingdom of heaven, he is talking about seek the kingdom of truth, seek the kingdom of awakening, seek the kingdom of realization, and not just heaven, because heaven and hell are equally in the domain of illusion, just as this life on earth is an illusion. It has no difference. You see, it's only a little pleasurable illusion where there is no suffering, where there is no dukkha, but it is an illusion. And you have to again come back on earth. So heaven and hell are not important in terms of Baba's literature. When Baba uses this word, my understanding is that he's talking about seek the kingdom of truth, of reality, of God, by not seeking the kingdom of illusion, of all that is false. When God is found, you can have no idea what infinite bliss and peace is gained. Obviously, when God is found means what? That means you find that you yourself were, are, and will ever for eternity remain God. When we say God is found, what does it mean? It means that God realization is the same as self realization, realizing the self as the truth, as God. And when you realize the truth, when we realize the self as the truth or God, then there is nothing but bliss, nothing but peace. There is absolute love and love and love. There is no such thing as the opposite of bliss and peace, because you have realized yourself as the everything. You see, it is only when after realization you have to so-called come down for duty. At that time, you do experience suffering, but that suffering is not experienced as what we suffer, because for us, that suffering is the reality. For them, that suffering is just a shadow. But at the same time, they do undergo this, but they are not affected by this, because they have the support or the blessing or the cushion, the buffering of infinite bliss. I give you all my love so that someday you can love God as He ought to be loved. These are Baba's words, these are Baba's blessings on us, that we may find God and become one with God, has always been there. It will always remain there. It is we who have covered ourselves with so much of garbage that we do not allow that blessing to penetrate and touch us and come to us and give us that that touch, where oh wow, we realize that I am God. So this ends here, chapter number 46. If there are any questions, do ask. Any questions? Or Delna wants to ask that.
No question as such, Cyrus, from anyone. My question was only that same thing where, last time you were mentioning about love the many, love the one in the
Like what?
many and not the many in the one.
Uh,
I always thought it was as if love Baba in the many and not the many in one.
exactly. That's what. See, when you love your husband, when you love your son, your daughter, your whosoever, try to see Baba in them, and so you are loving the one who is in the many, right?
Okay, okay,
And the many in the one is Baba.
okay,
Baba,
Okay.
because he consolidates many. He's universal, no? So
okay.
he's many.
All
He's
right.
yeah, he's encompassing many, and he's that one.
Now again, she's confused.
No,
No, no, no. Thanks.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, so no more questions. We go to chapter number 47.
know me as God. God is nearer to you than your own shadow. In fact, he is not only within you, but he is your very self. You cannot get at him, for you seek him through the ego mind, which converts him into the will of the wisp. I am God, God the beyond, and God in human form. I draw you ever closer to me by giving you frequent occasions of my companionship. But familiarity often makes you forget that I am God. I know all that happens and will happen. Whatever happens does not happen without my will. Knowingly, I allow things to happen in their natural course.
All right. Chapter number 47. Know me as God. You can only know, really know Him as God only when we become God. Baba had said there are three types of knowledge, three types of conviction, three types. One is the intellectual knowledge or the intellectual conviction, which we, through our intellect, how loving Baba is, how forgiving Baba is, how understanding Baba is, how, all these, how when we were in a soup, when we were in a very tight spot, and I just, Baba, and all of a sudden the situation changed, and therefore I believe in Baba. When I was in deep trouble and I prayed to Baba, Baba, please, Baba, please help me, not knowing that the moment I turned around, that situation has changed, and therefore I believe Baba to be God. These are all intellectual understanding of God, presence of God, that Baba is God. The second one, Baba says, which is more deeper, more profound than the intellectual conviction, is by sight, through sight. That means you actually have the feeling of seeing God in everyone and everything. That is the conviction or knowledge, knowingness of God through sight. You actually see. Those people who can really see are very few. They are on the sixth plane of consciousness. They actually have the experience of seeing God in everyone and everything. And the third conviction is becoming one with God. That is the real, final, only way to know God. To know God is to become God. Otherwise, there is no other way of knowing God. That is the thing. Now, uh, God is nearer to you than your very breath. Sorry. God is nearer to you than your own shadow. We all know that our shadow is so close to us, but Baba says God is nearer to you than your own shadow. In fact, He is not only within you, but He is your very self. He is you. And that is what Baba has been saying all the time, that everyone and everything is everyone and everything at the same time and for all time. That means we are all one. Baba says in one of the discourses that even to use this collective term we is not correct. But for want of a better word, we say we are one. You know, it's basically that only one is. And that one is, you call it by any name. You call it God, you call it self, you call it existence, you call it I, you call it whatever it is isness. That only one is. And that one is not only eternal, that means that one is was always there even before the beginning, is here now, in the here and now, and will always and forever remain. That is the meaning of eternal. That one is always there, now, ever will remain. Not only is it eternal, it is also infinite. Infinite. God's infinity means it is everywhere. There is not a tiny pinpoint where God is not. So he is eternal and he is infinite. And also, this is one additional aspect which Baba says, he is indivisible. Indivisible means that which cannot be divided, separated. So logically what it means is that we are all nothing but God, but because of our ignorance, because of the curtain of illusion, veil of illusion, we think ourselves as separate souls, as a man, as a woman, as an Easterner, as a Westerner, as a Hindu, as a Muslim, as whatever. So we consider ourselves as separate, and all this, Baba says, is because of ignorance. So here Baba says, he is your very self. You cannot get at him, for you seek him through the ego mind, which converts him into the will or the wisp. Will or the wisp means it just goes in circle. You cannot catch, like how a cat is turning,
Impossible to achieve.
trying to catch the tail. Because the moment the cat turns, the tail also turns. Impossible. It's an impossible proposition to ever find God purely through the intellect. Intellect does have a role to play, no doubt, but its role ends at a certain point, and then we have to go with the heart. In one of the messages, Baba says, again paraphrasing, verse to the effect that intellect is not destined to enter into the bedroom of the beloved. You're supposed to drop the intellect at the threshold. The other one, which goes on to say that love is all that is. And in order to have love, one must cross over the threshold of the intellect. In other words, intellect at one time being so important, and it is important, it becomes a bandha, it becomes a hindrance, it becomes an inhibiting factor for us to proceed further unless and until you drop your intellect and go with a pure heart in search of God. So here Baba says you find it impossible because you are searching through the ego mind. I am God, God the beyond, and God in human form. Baba used to always, time and time again remind his lovers, including his mandali, because Baba was so human that there was a possibility that the mandali themselves would forget. They would argue with Baba or talk to him as if he doesn't know, as if Baba doesn't know. And those were the times when Baba would immediately snap and say, remember that I am God. This is the sign of God. Remember always that I am God. And then, of course, the mandali would realize that they were discussing with God. All right. I draw you ever closer to me by giving you frequent occasions of my companionship. But familiarity often makes you forget that I am God. That's what I was saying. That Baba is so brilliantly human that it becomes natural for people, uh, uh, interacting with Baba to feel that he is God. And so, because of the familiarity, Baba has to remind us again and again, do not forget that I am God. I know all that happens and will happen. This is the meaning of all knowingness. or infinitely knowing. Once Baba did ask, what is the meaning of infinite knowledge? So people started saying, oh, infinite knowledge means you know what has happened a few million years before, or what is happening now everywhere in every place, or what is going to happen, say, a few thousand years from now. And so all these examples were given. And Baba very beautifully said, infinite knowledge means that there is nothing to know. There is nothing to know. Why? Because He is knowledge itself. In prayer we say that, and you are knowledge itself. When He is not, when is there something to know? When there is somebody who wants to know something, and there is a process, knowingness of knowing, and there is something to know. That means there is a duality. That means there is a duality between the knower and something that is to be known. But with Baba, when there is no duality, when he is abiding in the state of unity or Advaita, and when he is knowledge itself, then what is there for him to know? And that is why Baba said that infinite knowledge means that there is nothing to know. I know all that happens and will happen. Whatever happens does not happen without my will. Again and again, we have done this, my will. Everything that is happening in creation follows God's will, which is nothing but the law of karma. In other words, everything is happening according to the established law. And therefore, Baba says, nothing happens without my will. We have done this in quite a great depth, so I'm not going much into that. Because supposing, example, I'm suffering. I cannot suffer. It is impossible for me to suffer unless and until my karma requires me to suffer. Simple as that. And that means when I'm suffering, I'm just giving a negative aspect. It can be the same example can go for a positive aspect of being joyful or happy. That means when I am undergoing whatever I am undergoing, it is nothing but the balancing out of my past karma. And since my past karmas are being balanced out through the experiencing of whatever experiences that I'm going through right now, it simply means that it's a positive experience. Even though apparently it's a negative experience, I'm suffering. I cannot say it's a positive experience. But why I say it is positive? Because in my suffering, my past karmas are being wiped out, and therefore it is positive. And therefore, in life, there is only a positive, what should I say, experience. Even though it may be a negative experience, it is an experience which was owed to you because of your past karma, and therefore you are experiencing what you are experiencing. And one should be happy in that experiencing, in the knowledge that my past is being eradicated or removed, balanced out, washed off. Correct? This understanding we must, a very in-depth understanding we must have. And the trick of this particular understanding helping us is that we should not wind the clock again by brooding, weeping, wailing, poor me, playing the role of a victim. Why am I going through all these things? What have I done? I've always been such a good person. That fellow was bad and he's enjoying and I'm so. All that if we do, we are actually winding the clock again. And again we have to go through this. And that is why in Baba's My Wish, Baba says that when you feel happy, think Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think Baba wants me to suffer. Because when you do that, then it has played its role. The suffering has played its purpose of eradicating past karma if we follow Baba's wish. Am I making myself clear? If not, then again, Baba is trying to clear you up and clean you up. Again, you are becoming dirty by brooding and weeping and blaming and all that stuff. So this is a very fine point, a very subtle point, a very important point to give our responses to whatever we are going through in such a manner that because of that response, my past is being washed off. But if I react instead of responding, if I react in a negative way, tooth for a tooth, eye for an eye, stuff like that, then can't be helped. Then again, the same chakra view will go on happening. Very beautiful sentence here. Whatever happens does not happen without my will. Nothing happens without the operation of the law of karma. And the law of karma's full-time job is to come to a balance. If I have done good, it is in a hurry, very anxious to see that something good happens to me. If I have done something wrong, it is very anxious to balance it out by doing something wrong to me. I may have done something wrong to A, does not mean that A will do wrong to me. C can do, D can do, anybody can do. It is all a play of samskaras, and once we understand that, then by and large, our life is equanimous. Means we lead our life in a very impactful manner. I'll repeat this. Whatever happens does not happen without my will. Knowingly, I allow things to happen in their natural course. What is natural course? Natural course is the operation of the law of karma. Baba allows us to go through this natural course because only in the going through of this natural cause we are saved, we are cleansed. There's a cleansing process happening, and therefore Baba, by and large, does not intervene in the law of karma, in the operation of the law of karma. Here we finish chapter number 47. Anybody has anything to ask, you can ask. Otherwise, we go ahead.
Dilshad had put her hand up.
Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. She's not there right now, I think.
All right. So shall we continue then?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I think.
Try not to understand me through intellect. The moment you try to understand God rather than love Him, you begin to misunderstand Him, and your ignorance feeds your ego. Mind cannot reach that which is beyond it, for God is infinite and beyond the reach of mind. Do not try with your limited mind to understand the significance of my actions, nor try to imitate them. You must not do what I do, but do what I tell you to do. To try to bring my every action within the orbit of your understanding is but to understand the limitations of your own understanding. The utter simplicity of my divine game appears to be highly intricate as soon as you try to understand it through your intellect.
Baba says, understanding has no meaning. Love has meaning. Obedience has more meaning. Holding my Daman has the most meaning. Therefore, we must understand that we can't understand God through the understanding process, through the mind. Mind wants to know that which is beyond the mind. And the beauty of it is that mind wants to retain itself and wants to know that which is beyond the mind. And Baba says, to know that which is beyond the mind has to go. It should be relinquished totally. Manonash, annihilation of the mind. And that the mind is not willing to do. Last time we did this, we ourselves eating our own body. I don't want to repeat that. So here Baba says that majority of us think that we are spiritual or that we are on the spiritual path because we can understand the spiritual literature much better than so many others, and therefore I am more spiritual than the others. There may be people who are most ignorant, most illiterate, unlettered, as you may say, and yet they may be far, far superior than any of us in terms of spirituality. So here Baba says, the moment you try to understand God, then love Him, you begin to misunderstand Him. As I had said sometime before, that intellect has its importance. Baba has given this kind of gradations of knowledge or understanding. One is the instinct. First one, instinct, that belongs to animals. Then intellect, and then insight, inspiration, and then intuition, then insight, then illumination, and then realization. That is the gradation of how understanding follows. Deeper understanding, I'm not meaning intellectual understanding. So we are still on intellect. We are talking about intellect. As we proceed further, we sort of get inspired, inspiration. Baba talks about the poets and the dancers, anything to do with artists, they get inspired, and then there is intuition. And then there are insight, that means inner sight as you walk the spiritual path. And then there is illumination. Illumination would mean that the mind sees the soul, but the mind has yet not merged with the soul. The mind has not become the soul. In God's hand we call it spirit, but here Baba uses the word soul. And then there is realization. Realization means merger of the separative finite self with the ocean of reality. The drop becomes the ocean. The drop swallows the ocean and announces, I am the ocean. So here Baba says that the moment you try to understand God rather than love Him, you begin to misunderstand Him, and your ignorance feeds your ego. Today, there may be so many pandits, pujaris, priests, dasturs, all so-called religious heads who are really very extremely well read in the spiritual scriptures. No doubt about it. Very nice thing. But then that what happens is then that aggrandizes their ego. Their egos become very inflated. They think that they know all everything, and they become guides and gurus of other people. For all you know, there may be the other people who are more closer to God. I remember an instance, I am sure it is in one of Baba's literature only, where there were a certain community priests who wanted to increase the flock of their people number. They wanted to increase their number, and so they found out one very, very remote place, and they go there, a couple of them, by a ship, by a boat, and then they talk about God. And these people, this innocent, simple, childlike people, they never knew anything about God. They never knew the scriptures. They never knew how to pray and what to say and what is the posture you must have when you are praying, kneeling down or joining your hand, nothing. But they are very beautiful souls, good souls, loving souls, pure souls. So they came there and they taught, and the poor people, they were very enthusiastic to learn everything, and they learned a lot. They say, oh my God, how fortunate that we are. We were so ignorant. We did not know any of these things happening out there in the world. We are so secluded and all that. And then those people who had come, they just sailed away. And as they were in a sense, not mid-ocean, but they were just going off. all of a sudden, a couple of them, they missed a particular link of what those people had taught them. So now after that, what to do and how to do and all that, they missed that. So in that eagerness to know what the Lord has to tell them, they walked over water. I repeat, they walked over water and reached that ship and called out to them and said, please, please, please don't go away. We forgot that particular link. How did you want us to do this? And fortunately, those priests were wise enough. And they said, there is no need for you to learn any of these things. You are already far superior than us. So, in other words, what Baba was trying to convey is that simple heartedness, love, purity, childlikeness, nature is what is important in spirituality, and not the high funda discussions and debates and conferences in spirituality, because that is just a superfluous farce and all that. Baba had said when Baba was physically present, there were some, I think it was an inter-religious congregation or something like that. And Baba said that this will not yield any result unless and until the heart of the human is transformed. All these bombastic words and philosophies and all that, they may have their own place in whatever, but other than that, it doesn't help. So Baba says, mind cannot reach that which is beyond it. For God is infinite and beyond the reach of the mind. Sorry. Baba says that God is infinite and beyond the reach of the mind. So you cannot get to God simply by intellect. Do not try with your limited mind to understand the significance of my actions, nor to imitate them. Many a times, many an act of the God man or even the perfect masters are absolutely beyond our ken. We cannot understand why these masters behave in a particular manner, because we are so prototype. We think that if this thing happens, this is how we are supposed to respond. But Godman's and the master's responses are totally different. And therefore, Baba says, do not try to either imitate what I am doing, or do not try to understand with your limited mind the significance of my actions. You must not do what I do, but do what I tell you to do. I had the two instances that come in my mind, and I'm sure I must have narrated them here. One was, we all know that Baba used to play cards. They call it Laris, but that was a different type of game. And Baba would very much cheat. We call it the word cheat. There's no other better word for it, because he must always win. God must always win. So he would take the higher cards from anybody who has the higher card. Now it so happened that once when people were playing, when they were playing, Dr. Ghani, Baba's very close disciple, he did some cheating, you know. And obviously, uh, whether Baba sees it or not, he knows everything. So Baba immediately stopped the game and said, now I want to tell you a story, an anecdote.
Said that, Baba, you are also cheating.
No, that was different. That was different. So Baba said, I want to tell you a story. And then Baba goes on to say that there was a master and he had several followings. And whenever the master would move, that group of people, 5, 7, 10, whatever, they would follow the master. So one fine day the master was following. I'm sure I've narrated this on this forum, but still, since it is reference to context, the master goes to a sweetmeat shop and picks up whatever, a sweetmeat, a peda, or laddu, whatever it is, and pops it in his mouth. And the disciples also takes one and pops it. And because the master had a name, he had a fame in that vicinity, the shopkeeper would not bother to, stop them or say, hey, what are you doing and all that. It was all done. Okay. Then they move forward. and then they go to some other shops, you know, what we call is, what do you call khari and all that? The bakery shop, okay, bakery shop, and he picks up something, and again everyone takes up the same thing, and he eats this, you know, and then they move forward, and as they move forward, they come to a blacksmith. You know what blacksmith is, you know, koile ka kaam. They do hot iron work, you know, and there was a kolsa burning, the koila was burning, the coal was burning, red hot. So the master picks it up with bare hands and puts it in his mouth and swallows it. And then he looks behind and sees whether the disciples are also doing it or not. Obviously, the disciples would not dare to do it. And that was when the master said that do not do what I do, but do what I tell you to do. Do not imitate me. And so, of course, Gani got his answer that because Baba is cheating, he should not be cheating like that, because that was the prerogative of Baba. And Baba did it for his own reason, because Baba always said that each and every act of mine is nothing but a spontaneous reflection of my love and well-being and concern and care for each and every one in creation. So it's a very spontaneous outpouring of that love, you know, and you cannot analyze it and dissect it and try to put it within the framework of our understanding as to why Baba did what he did. The second instance was about same thing, you know, uh, Baba's brother, if I'm not mistaken, it was Behram. He said something which was a lie, which was not the truth. And Baba scolded him, and Baba said, but this is not the truth. You are lying. Now, Behram, obviously being Baba's brother, they grew up together. They were together as children, you see. So obviously he would be knowing that Baba would also bluff and fib, and he may also say certain things, you know, to get away from Shirin Mai or whatever it is, you know. So he, in that, without realizing that he's talking to Baba, he said, but Baba, you also tell lies, you also bluff, you know, and all that, you know. So what's the big deal if I did it, you know? Immediately, Baba's face turned very serious. And what did Baba say? It's a very important statement. Baba said, I am the truth, and the truth never lies. I am the truth, and the truth never lies. What to me it means that even if apparently Baba is lying, it is not a lie because it is coming from the truth. And the truth can never lie. It is only the truth. In our dictionary, in our, you know, what you can say, daira, as we call it, in our code of conduct, moral, whatever you call it, we would say this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is wise, this is virtue, all that stuff. But anything and everything that comes out from the truth is the truth, period. There is no question of any discussion, debate, arguments, etc. So here Baba says that do not try to imitate me. You must not do what I do, but do what I tell you to do. To try to bring my every action within the orbit of your understanding. That means if you want to analyze each and every action of mine within your to bring it within the scope of your understanding is but to understand the limitations of your own understanding. That means with your understanding, you cannot understand what I am trying to convey. In other words, do not try to understand what I am doing. The utter simplicity of my divine game appears to be highly intricate as soon as you try to understand it through your intellect. In other words, what Baba says, that my divine game is absolutely simple. His divine game is to awaken himself in each one of us. But the utter simplicity of my divine game makes it very intricate. It becomes very highly intricate or complicated because you try to understand my simple gestures through the help of your intellect. So here I'll repeat the last sentence. The utter simplicity of my divine game appears to be highly intricate, complex, complicated. As soon as you try to understand it, it means what? His divine game through your intellect. And therefore, time and time again, Baba says, understanding has no meaning. Love has meaning. That means he expects us to love him. And when we say love him, obviously it means to love each other, to love him in each other, to see him in all and love all. To love, then Baba gives more importance to obedience, obeying his wish. We all know what his wish is. And then finally, Baba says, understanding has no meaning, love has meaning, obedience has more meaning, holding my Daman has the most meaning. Holding my Daman has the most meaning means hold on to him through thick and thin. Whosoever you may be, whatsoever you may be, do not evaluate and judge yourself as to how bad, ugly, sinful, vulgar, filthy, etc. you are. How can I hold on Baba's Daman? I need to purify myself before holding. Nothing of that sort. Baba accepts us in as is, where is condition. All that is expected out of us is to hold on to Baba. The examples Baba had given, and I have narrated that of a kite and a tail, and that of a wagon of a freight train hitching, connected with the engine, irrespective of what is the content of the wagon, that means of the container, irrespective of whether it is gold or silver or dung or shit, that wagon will also reach the destination if that wagon takes care to hold on to the train. So in other words, to the engine. In other words, we are expected to hold on to him no matter what. Here we complete chapter number 48.
The
Sorry
song
for
is written by
the distraction here.
Madhusudan.
No
I
worries.
like it very much. तुम्हारे बिना मोहे कछु नहीं भायो, तुम्हारे बिना मोहे कछु नहीं भायो, तुम्हारे बिना मोहे कछु नहीं भायो, भक्त तुम्हारा शरण में आयो, किस विद मोरे मन को रिझाओ, किस विद मोरे मन को रिझाओ, तुम ही बुलाओ पास मेहरबा, तुम ही से मिलन की आस मेहरबा, तुम ही से मिलन की आस, तुम ही से मिलन की आस, तुम ही से मिलन की आस, तुम ही से मिलन की आस मेहरबा, तुम ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्हारे नाम की माला जपत हूँ, तुम्हारे नाम की माला जपत हूँ, तुम्हारे ध्यान में सदा रमत हूँ, तुम्हारे ध्यान में सदा रमत हूँ, काम धाम मोहे कछु नहीं सूझत, काम धाम मोहे कछु नहीं सूझत, दर्शन की लगी प्यास मेहरबा, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस मेहरबा, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस मेहरबा, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस। भवसागर में है मोरी नैया, भवसागर में है मोरी नैया, तुम ही आओ बन के खिवैया, तुम ही आओ बन के खिवैया, राखो ब्रीद पार उतारो, राखो ब्रीद पार उतारो, मधुसूदन है दास मेहरबा, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस मेहरबा, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस मेहरबा, तुम्ही से मिलन की आस।
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।